So the subject today that we're going to be talking about now, look, these webinars is really, really important. And thank you already for interacting with me. You know, I don't want this me speaking to a screen on my own. I want to share ideas. I want you to ask questions. I want you to answer questions. The idea is for me, potentially to help you ask yourself empowering questions and just simply review. I mean, what we're doing here, in anything and everything that I do, I come from a place of honesty, okay? And I think it's people struggle with honesty. I've covered this in several times before in some of the webinars and some of the talks. People struggle with being honest. Now, this is a place where we're all going to be honest with each other, where we can share whatever we want to share, but we need to understand that we're all coming from a place of love, okay? So anything and everything that we say here, we say it because we come from a place of love, and we're not here to upset or hurt anyone's feelings, but sometimes, you know, with a good friend, a good loved one, you know, they will tell you what you need to hear. And I want to hear how I can help you. I want to hear maybe the challenges that you're going through, what you feel might or might not be working. And as I said, in particular today, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about success, what success is, and we're going to be talking about passion. You know, me being passion, Spanish, obviously, passion is a big word. But the first thing is I wanted to open is what makes greatness? What is as far as I'm concerned, what does make greatness? I'm sorry, I just got answer to the question too. Okay, Claudia, if you haven't read the book, no worries. Seriously, there's no issue. If there's certain questions that you can't answer, just leave them or put anything and then move on to the next one. So what is greatness? I think obviously, you know, that there's a lot of things that it might mean many different things to many different people. Obviously, greatness in sports, greatness in history, greatness in the Olympics, greatness in I don't know, in changing and helping people's lives, greatness in becoming a fantastic parent. There's so many things that, you know, requires greatness, but I believe that sometimes becoming great or becoming successful can be down to the basic kind of things. I mean, you know, for some people, you know, understanding that they can take care of their responsibilities with their families. You know, we have pressures, you know, not being able to pay the mortgage or not being able to pay the school fees or not making the amount of money that we were expecting to make, or not having, you know, that extra bonus which would allow us to buy the Christmas presents that we want, putting food on our kids' tables. You know, there's so many things that would basically mean success or would someone would consider to be success, that in general, you know, it's just a great, well, it just means so many different things to so many different people. So I'm a great believer that things happen for a reason. And for example, when I was younger, I was prepared to write this book. And because I didn't have the knowledge, skills, and experience that I have now, so now was a moment for me to share this book. I think that everything happens with time. When we're younger, we have this urge, this need to do things quickly. And I love that metaphor of when we're young, we set fires, and when we're older, we put them out. And that's what happens. You know, we understand the importance of time. We understand the importance of maturity. We understand, you know, that things take time and that we can't expect everything to happen overnight. I think it's when we're young that we start becoming really anxious of you know, materializing and everything materializing overnight. And I believe that every person that you meet, every book that you read, every story or every person that you connect with or you meet maybe at a seminar, or someone's introduced you to someone else, or an email that stood out, I believe that it happens for a reason. I'm a massive believer in serendipity. And I believe that, you know, things happen at a certain time because they're right, and it's the right time. So many successful people firmly believe that they're destined for success in some way, that it's their serendipity. It has to happen. So I think part of it is, do we have the right frame of mind to welcome success? Are we appreciating where we are at this point in time? A lot of the times, you know, we want to do something. We want to either write a book or write an article or get a blog out or learn something new. But when we've done it, we've already moved on to the next thing. We don't really necessarily appreciate what we have. So my question to you, and I'm interested in knowing, are you aware of what you've already succeeded at? Are you aware of what you are successful already about? Because again, success means many different things to many different people. And generally in I suppose the personal development world or in the financial world, success means that you are wealthy and that you are financially independent. I would assume that that's what it means. So let me go back to that question. Are you already appreciating your successes? And I recommend you, and I should have maybe asked you to do this before, but just make some notes, because there potentially might be some questions that I'm asking you, but you might want to ask yourself. We did this last week, and I was saying that, you know, if I ask you the question, well, you're going to automatically and instantly make that thought process in your mind, and you're going to be visualizing the things that you've done in the past that could represent that you are or have achieved success. But if you ask yourself that question, it's going to have a different connotation. So ask yourself the question, am I appreciating the things that I am already successful at? Do I know what I'm successful at? Do I appreciate that I might be already successful? So if you start writing this down permanently on a daily basis, and this is related to this subject, because each and every part of the book, when I wrote it, was to ultimately ask yourself empowering questions related to whatever the subject is more, you know, more empowering or you need more help or more assistance with. In this case in particular today, we're going to be talking about success. So I want you to ask yourself empowering questions related to understanding if you are already or have already achieved success, and if so, in what. You might have been successful at playing the guitar. You might have been successful at running because you wanted to do the marathon. You might have been successful in moving countries, in learning a different language. So you've already been successful and are successful in a number of things. So first of all, I want you to acknowledge what you have and are successful at, but I want you to appreciate it, because it will help you then potentially for us to be able to look at together at what success will look like. And we'll get there in a minute. Okay, again, feel free to ask any questions at any time. So the fact that you might have money and you are wealthy and you are financially independent, does that necessarily make you successful? Well, I've worked with a lot of people who potentially have a lot of money, and I wouldn't say that they are successful. You see, I think I was definitely successful as a parent when I had my kids, because, you know, we had a beautiful environment, we created a great place for them, we loved them, and we gave them character. And I know that potentially, you know, they are out there inspiring and helping other people, very admired and very charismatic. So for me, that is success. And the word success sometimes could mean, you know, fulfillment, as far as it's been that one feels completed. But that's also a big word, because, you know, filled fully, you know, not everyone, that doesn't mean that you could not have more success. So does successful mean that you are fulfilled? No, because you've done something that might have been successful, but the moment you've done that, you're looking at your next goal. That's what successful people do. So there are ways to spot the cracks in this way of thinking about success. And you can ask the question the other way around. Do you think you can be successful and feel unfulfilled or dissatisfied? And the answer, as I said, I think so very much. I don't know what you think. And I'm sure you probably agree with the same thing, which leads to another question that sheds a light on the first. Are successful people ever satisfied? So And I question that, because I think successful people want more success. And I think those of us that are seeking to do something that we would consider successful, I really don't believe that we appreciate how much we've achieved and we've done, and we don't necessarily smell the roses. Because, and I tell you, in my, and we'll talk a little bit more about myself, but I personally believe that when I know when I've run an event, I unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time, because then we've already got to list the next one, and we're already thinking about the next one, and we're talking to people about the next one. So we don't get a lot of opportunities when it comes down to event to really smell the roses, because we're already focusing on the next one. But we do, or I do, kind of appreciate the work that I've put into it, and I do get acknowledgement. So that sometimes helps, but sometimes we don't get that acknowledgement, and that's the challenge. So I think, again, when it comes down to something that you would want to achieve and understanding what that may be, I think what's really important is to appreciate what you've done in order to succeed, and then at least spend some time recognizing what you've been successful at. I'm reading a book now, You Can't Hurt Me. This is David Goggin, the SEAL, Navy SEAL, phenomenal book. I would highly recommend it. And he talks about the cookie jar, and the cookie jar, what it is just when he hits rock bottom, he would put his hands into the cookie jar, and the cookie jar would be all the amazing things that he's managed to achieve and do over the years, which were unconceivable and unbelievable, but he had done them against all odds. So he would put all these great thoughts and feelings into this cookie jar. So when he was struggling in his next massive, ridiculous challenge, he would tap into that cookie jar, think of a time when he wasn't, when he was struggling, but then he got through it and he could really smell the roses, or appreciate, or understand, or relive those experiences he had as far as that successful moment or successful challenge, successful race, whatever it is that he was doing. Okay. So we were talking about that there are people obviously that are, successful, but they aren't necessarily happy. So are successful people always satisfied? I don't think they are. Success isn't the end point, it's a direction of the travel. I think that's the thing, is, you see, we really ultimately should be looking at, ultimately, where do we want to go, and what does that look like, and appreciate that that's where we're going. Because if we do, then we will appreciate more the journey, as everything that we do is a milestone in order for us to get there. So when we are struggling, when we are having those challenging moments, we know it's just part of the process. It's part of the process of hurting. Again, if you're running a marathon, you're going to hit the wall at 13 miles or whatever it is. Well, it's understanding that that's part of the process. Your feet are going to start hurting. Your arms are going to start hurting. I believe your nipples can start hurting because with the rubbing of the t-shirts. That's just part of the process of you trying to get through the marathon. So I think it's understanding that, and I think it makes our success a little bit more sweet. Does that make sense? Guys, again, I'm here. Any questions, please ask me. So I think success then isn't the end point, it's a direction of travel. Successful people are most often in a state of continual improvement. I believe that. And things along the way show them that they are doing the right things, winning an Olympic gold or making another business deal or whatever that is. So being successful is a process of being and becoming. I talk in the book about, for example, Bill Gates, that in his 20s, when he was organizing the coding for his new operating system and making big bucks, that was obviously a success, but that's what it was in the 70s. You see, now he has a different goal in life. Now he's a billionaire and he's decided to give his money away because he wants to help people. And so whatever that success was then, and I suppose at that time, he probably wasn't thinking of the level of success that he had or has, but his success now is very different to what it was then. Does that make sense? So whatever you might feel is success to you now might be very different to where it was. And that's fine, as long as we understand it's part of the process. And then, so it's changing as we go along, and that's fine. And we'll talk about change as well. Change is a good thing. A lot of people struggle with the word change. I love change. And the moment you start embracing change as something that's good for you, great things will happen to you. So again, this is the process of doing the work permanently. It's a non-stop, on-day basis, appreciating what you have, appreciating where you're going, understanding your hurts, your pains, and you know, just really understanding that that's where you're going, really. So, because we talk about here satisfied, and being satisfied can also be a misleading word, you know, implying that it's the end point. Well, you know, we aren't necessarily satisfied, because there's always going to be something else that we want to do. So it's like the word happiness. You know, what is happiness? Everyone's in the seeking happiness. I want to be happy. What does that mean? How will you know when you're happy? Are you happy now? No. Well, if someone would have said, well, I'm not, and I said, well, how would you know when you're happy? What would happiness look like to you? And again, ask yourself this question. Am I happy now? When will I know that I'm happy? What does it take to be happy? Because sometimes we might be exploring around the idea of happiness with this utopia idea, but we already might be happy and we don't even know it, because we're not asking ourselves if we are happy already. So happiness, the same as success, might be measured completely different today with what it might be tomorrow, but you might already be successful and you don't know it. So explore that, think about that. I share the idea that a lot of things are different in different contexts, and some ideas about success are more like religious brief than the nuts and the bolts of life. Find the right words to define where you are, smell the roses, and so that's kind of what I do. But Wayne Dyer has a beautiful quote, and he says that peace is the result of retaining your mind to process life as it is, rather than as you think it should be. Okay, I'll repeat that again. Peace is the result of retaining your mind to process life as it is, rather than as you think it should be. So I'm going to very briefly run through my success and what I personally think if I am or am not successful. Well, I don't think I've personally been successful, but then on the other hand, I do know I've achieved a lot of things and I've done a lot of things. I think financially, I definitely should be in a much better place. I think I could have been a better business person, without a doubt. I lost my money twice, and I've had many challenges financially because my vision has driven me too much towards kind of achieving what I want to do. But I do know I've done great things, and a lot of the times, you know, I haven't really appreciated them. When I had my family, when I had a real estate, when I started doing my first NLP seminars, or my NLP training, and then my NLP seminars, and then the Best You, and then the Best You Expo, and then the Best You magazine. So kind of everything that I've done like that, you know, I do appreciate it, and I'm aware of what I've done. So I do believe that in a certain degree I am successful. I will be honest with you, and I think that I could have probably enjoyed more some of those moments, but I'm on a transition period myself where I'm really trying to reinvent myself into doing more, connecting with more, but ultimately being able to, you know, live a quieter and easier life. And that's easier said than done when I'm running expos and all those sorts of things. But that's I'm trying to reinvent myself. I'm trying to permanently find new ways to live a more fulfilled life, and for me to be able to ultimately leave a legacy. And I'm doing that in a way through the Best You. So I've had my challenges. I personally think that my success has been my family. And as I said before, I love the idea of how and what they will do. So you will probably understand easier. I mean, what I was saying about kind of like ultimate love is a complete selflessness, which makes sacrifice something positive. Others' success is your success. So what I want to do is I want to be able to connect with as many people as possible to help them find some kind of inspiration, to trigger some ideas within their head, so then they can go out and make a difference, and then they can go out and inspire, and then they can go out and make the world a better place. That for me is success. So it's not necessarily about what you do personally. Remember, it's about who you can touch, the kind words that you can say, and helping other people ultimately find their success. That could be your success. So explore that. So I just really want to summarize this. What does success mean to me? Am I already successful? Am I on my journey to happiness? Do I understand what happiness means? Am I already happy? Is my success based on helping other people, or is my success only really helping myself? When will I know that I've been successful? What have I been successful at? So again, questions, 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 questions. And my advice to you is if you spend 10, 15 minutes every day, just 10 minutes every day, just write down, and you can, if you've got a book or a pad, just write questions related to different subjects. Just leave empty pages in the middle. So write, for example, about success, and start writing questions around success. And then go and write one, leave a page and maybe just leave a couple of pages blank and about happiness. What does happiness mean to me? Well, when will I know if I've been happy? So that would be my advice to you. And this is going to take me to another quote from the Dalai Lama that basically says that when we feel love and kindness towards others, it not only makes others feel loved and cared, but it helps us also develop inner happiness and peace. I'll repeat that. When we feel love and happiness towards others, it not only makes others feel loved and cared for, but it also helps us develop inner happiness and peace. Or my favorite quotes is one from an anonymous that says that helping one person might not change the world, but it could change the world for one person. So helping one person might not change the world, but it could change the world for one person. So I think what I try to do with the book is I really try to help you understand that ultimately we need to discover what our purpose is, what are we here for, what is our legacy, and how can we make the planet a better place. So I believe that a lot of us have a lot more to give, and a lot more to give might be by doing that, by exactly us finding our passion and then ultimately helping other people find theirs. So the question to ask yourself, how much of your time do you spend helping people, and is that enough? So again, how much time do you spend helping people, and is that enough? Would you like to spend more time helping people? Or are you more focused on helping yourself? And there's nothing wrong with that. I talk about selfish development as well. Don't be afraid to be selfish. We'll explore the word selfish and selfish development. There's nothing wrong with you wanting to become the best version of yourself. Okay, so I'm not being judgmental or critical. I'm simply wanting you to ask yourself these questions. It doesn't take much to change someone's life. Sometimes it takes just a few kind words or an action, helping someone, letting them know that you see them and that you are there to help them. That's all it is sometimes. And then this is going to take us to kind of this last part, which is about passion. So the most important thing for me, I think, is personally passion. I believe that anything that we do in life, whatever it is that we do that, I don't know, pays our bills, that fills our soul, the chicken soup for the soul, whatever it is that we do that is fulfilling for us, we have to do with passion. I see so many people that are doing something, and look, you might have a job, and this job might be extremely mundane, but it pays the bills and it provides comfort for your home, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying is, if you do have something that you love, what are you doing it with passion? Are you passionate about it? And I want to ask you some questions related to that. So I believe that to release the energy that brings you success in whatever path you choose, you need to throw yourself into it with every fiber of your being, to engage your whole true self without holding back. You commit to your path like you commit to your marriage and to loving your kids or loved ones with every part of yourself, with every part of your soul. The passion is the thing that will drive you on, that will make you realize how you can't stop and that you want to continue. Passion is that emotion that drives everything else. So you throw yourself into your work. So to become successful, you have to do what you love, and you have to do it with passion. I'm not sure if you agree with it, but I believe that to become successful, You have to do what you love, and you have to do it with passion. And putting that emotion, that drive, that fire to work every day will make you and will make your life successful. A quote that I've used many, many times, and again, I've realized over the years, is the all or nothing. When it comes down to working, it's all or nothing. When it comes down to exercising, all or nothing. When it comes down to having fun, all or nothing. When it comes down to, I'm sorry, it's my nature, and I might be wrong, but I believe it's something that passion is a secret ingredient to successful thinking. It's the fuel. It's the food on which successful behavior feeds. So I'll read that again. I'm not sure if you agree or not, but I believe that passion is a secret ingredient to successful thinking. It's the fuel and the food on which successful behavior feeds. So with that in mind, and wanting to kind of end with a couple of questions here, the questions that I would like you to ask yourself: what are you really passionate about? I would like you to ask yourself, what are you really passionate about? And again, maybe open a blank page and start writing these things down. What am I passionate about? What does passion mean to me? Am I a passionate person? How can I become more passionate? What does passion mean to me? Who is passionate? Who do I know that is extremely passionate? Who could I model that is extremely passionate? And what could I learn about passion? How can I become more passionate? These are the questions that if you ask yourself, and what do I love doing? What really inspires me? What would I do? What would I do if I did not worry about money? If money wasn't an issue, all of a sudden I had an inheritance and I've got, I don't know, £500,000 and I could live for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. What would you do? Ask yourself, what would I do? What I'm really passionate about. I believe that if you find your purpose, you start living a passionate life and things with passion, and you start doing things with passion, which also is the other way around. When you find what you're passionate about, you will find your purpose. I believe that. I believe that empowering questions will help you find your passion. When you find your passion and the things that you are passionate about, you will find your purpose. And if you find your purpose by you understanding what your purpose is, you will leave a legacy. Now, I'm going to repeat that several times throughout all the different webinars, because that's the conclusion that I've come to. I've come to that conclusion. I've seen many, many people in personal development read books, attend seminars, read all sorts of things and do all sorts of things. Then they hardly implement any of them. They make all these notes and they never use them or apply them. They fall into their own habits, and they don't or aren't aware of the quality of their thoughts. That's why I came up with the idea of the question. And the reason I come up with the idea of the question is because I keep seeing people that don't understand and appreciate the importance of thinking. So what I'm trying to do here with you today is to simply help you understand the power of thinking, of you being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your internal dialogue, making sure that it's a positive one, but most importantly, making sure that you are asking yourself empowering questions all the time. Because if you ask yourself empowering questions, what's going to happen is your unconscious is going to find the solution. You might already have the answer within you. I believe that unconsciously we have so much more knowledge than we're aware of. Every article that we read, every news, everything that we've seen is in our unconscious. So it's all there. We have this inner knowledge, this inner wisdom within us. And if not, and if we don't have the answer, by us asking the question, we're going to be curious or looking out for ways for us to be able to answer that question. So that's the conclusion. The quality of your life will depend on the quality of the questions you ask yourself. If you ask yourself empowering questions and you are able to find the things that you are passionate about, the things that you really love doing, then you will find your purpose in life. Anyone that's an Olympian, an inventor, an explorer, they are passionate about what they're doing, obviously. They love it. And then apart from them loving it, it's their purpose. So they live a fulfilled life. They consider themselves successful in this case. And because of that, because they find their purpose, they are ultimately in a better position, or they find the position to leave a legacy. So that's my thoughts, ladies and gents, for today. I would recommend, if you haven't bought the book, I would recommend that you buy it, of course. You can do that if you go to the webpage of thequestion.co. And in thequestion.co, www.thequestion.co, you've got the links for the Get the Free book. You've got the links for, there's a book there offer at the moment, but that book offer works out a little bit more expensive if you're not in the UK, okay? Then if not, I would recommend you go to amazon.com or amazon.co.uk. If you've bought the book already, I would really love you to go into Amazon and leave me a testimonial. I would really appreciate that. If you have bought the book and you're interested in the e-course, you can sign up to the e-course there as well. We are and will be offering the ebook, the digital book, no shipping. Literally, you can read it in any device. That's going to be on the webpage in a couple of days' time. And if you have already read the book and you do like it, okay, I can take it. If you haven't bought the book, that's fine. If you haven't read it or you do like it and you haven't left me a testimonial, that's also fine. If you do love the book and you do leave me a nice testimonial, send me an email to info@thebestyou.co. That's the best way of getting hold of me, info@thebestyou.co. And excuse me, I'd love to send you one of these. So this is a mug. It's not a mug, that's a box basically, but this is the mug. And basically the mug is this, okay? So it's a little mug that says the question, find your true purpose. It's all about the questions you ask yourself. So if you have read the book and you do go and leave a testimonial on Amazon, either go on Facebook as well or contact me through the email account, and I'll be delighted to share one of those mugs that I have. And if you have bought the book already and you're interested in the e-course, you can log in there. There's a discounted price for you if you want to discount. It's only $59. Now on the e-course, what it is, it's an 8-modules where I literally coach you with 8 different videos and loads of questions. You complete all the different phases. You can do it all in a couple of days, or you can do it in 8 days. I would recommend you do it slowly, but surely. So the e-course is only $59 if you're interested. If you are already or have read the book, if the idea of finding your purpose or looking at potentially finding ways for you to find your purpose, to be part of a local community, well, that's where I've come up with the ideas of the Best You Legacy Club. So with everything that I've created, with the Best You brand, with running these big events, with writing the book, and then ultimately understanding that people that get into personal professional growth is because they want to leave some kind of legacy behind, I came up with these ideas of the Legacy Club. So the Best You Legacy Club is a concept that is now in 10, 12 cities all around the world, in London, in California, in Greece, Athens, Mumbai. We now have legacy clubs being launched with the same intention of us networking, connecting with like-minded individuals on a monthly basis, where we help each other, we support each other in finding each other's purpose and also in leaving a legacy. So you can read more about that at thebestyoulegacyclub.com. That's www.thebestyoulegacyclub.com. Okay. Now I've got an email here from Winnie. I'm learning to appreciate every little big success. Thank you so much, Winnie. I am still reading the book. Thank you, Winnie. Well, that's a good sign. You're still reading it. That's good. I've got to say, I've been very lucky with some lovely people leaving me some great testimonials. So far it's great. It's funny because when you write a book and you put your heart and soul into it, like I have, and you put so much energy, especially in the position that I am, where, you know, I was a successful guy in business. I lost my money twice. I started all over again. Then I started into personal development and I started promoting all these big events. For me to go out and share this now is kind of like a big step. But I believe that I have the answers. I've discovered a lot of things that people are lacking with and things that people aren't doing. And that's why I came up with the book. So the reviews so far have been great. I'm honored and blessed, and I'm thankful for all of those that have said beautiful words and those that haven't as well. It's all great. You know, I'm not coming from a place of ego here. I do it with the best intentions. So that's why I've done it. What is the next, when is the next Legacy Club meeting? Well, the next Legacy Club meeting, I run them in London. So I run my own Legacy Club. There's a couple going to be open in London, but I run my own, and mine is literally that's the next 15th of April. But if you wanted to, because this webinar will be recorded, just go to thebestyourlegacyclub.com. And if you scroll all the way down, you will see all the different cities and the dates and times. You can click on there. We're actually doing ours on WeWork. We've done a partnership with WeWork, so we're going to be doing it there. Camila says, I went to the Best Year Expo in London, and I'm really grateful you set it up. Thank you, been so helpful to me. Well, thank you. The expo has been a beautiful journey of my own. I started 4 years ago, 5 years ago now. For the next one's 5 years. 4 years ago, and 3,000 people, 6,000 people, 12,000 people, 14,000 people. So it's grown from strength to strength. So more and more people are understanding the importance of personal and professional growth. And I'm honored that we run these shows and we connect and meet with so many great people. So any more questions? I'm going to be here for another 2-3 more minutes. Any thoughts, anything that I can clarify, any ideas regarding success, any tips that you've taken with you today? I'd love to hear them. Any of you? Okay. Well, I'm very honored to have had so many of you here today. Thank you so much. As I said, we normally get around 150 people signing up for the webinars. It will be, this webinar will be recorded, so we will put it out there. It'll be on the question.co. This one will be there. I'm still going to be here for another couple of more minutes. Why am I not doing real estate as well? You know what? Okay, let me answer that question first. Why am I not doing good with real estate? Look, you know what? I did real estate. I did really well with real estate. First time I was 26. It cost me. It was my first. I just literally got into business 2 or 3 years in, and I got the first real estate crisis in Spain, and I wasn't expecting it. And I was young, 26. My wife was 23. We had a kid, and my wife was pregnant. And then I started in timeshare, and then I built up a pretty good setup. You know, I had 25 employees eventually, had a construction company, refurbishment company. So I did well. I did well. I was making really good money. Had a couple of houses. It's just when the second real estate bubble came back, you know, like many people, I wasn't really expecting it. I don't think I was as business savvy as I should have been. Maybe not putting all my eggs in one or two baskets, but it literally caught me. I wasn't expecting it. But you know what? When it happened the second time, I knew I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something with a bit more of a meaning, and real estate didn't have it for me. So I still was doing a lot of the same thing I used to do. I was quite good at marketing and selling. I just applied those resources that I had to do something different, which was basically running seminars and events. So no, I wasn't good at real estate. I don't think I will be good at real estate. I'm just really interested in creating, you know, a good ongoing recurring revenue with my expos, legacy clubs, and all the events that I run. And I'm looking at connecting with more people. Yeah, and as I said before, maybe an easier life. We'll see about that. I've got the book, just not start reading it yet. That's Claudia. Okay, well, Claudia, I look forward to you hearing from you what you think about the book. Okay, so Claudia's sharing that she started to become aware of her inner voices and journey. I really like the idea of asking empowering questions to myself. Looking forward to reading this book. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. My pleasure, Claudia. I'm telling you, I've shared this before. This book transformed my life, okay? And I'm talking about a couple of years ago now. I was writing this book, and as I was writing this book, it started making me ask the questions, because I was asking the questions for you guys. And then as I'm asking myself some questions, for me, I wasn't being congruent. And I think this is one of the things I talk in the book. You have to be congruent. You can't talk a good talk, can't be into personal development, can't be into happiness and all these things. And then you are, so if you're into happiness, then you're an unhappy person. If you preach or talk about weight loss, you can't be obese. You know, I don't know. I've got this sense that you have to be congruent with your message. So for me, I changed my diet. I changed the way, you know, I changed my ties with many loved ones and friends that I had for a long time. So I made some drastic decisions because I started asking myself empowering questions. But what I do find myself doing, and I've done this many times, and I'm sure you have as well. Have you ever gone to bed when you've had an idea where something was troubling you, and you start asking yourself questions? Oh my God, how can I do that? How can I do this? And all of a sudden you wake up with the answer at 6 o'clock in the morning. Well, that's happened to me many times. And this was part of the strategy of me writing this book, because understanding NLP and understanding thoughts and understanding our inner voice and how to change the voice so it's a positive one, the real essence is about asking yourself the empowering questions to get your mind going. And I've said this before and I'll share it again. The conquerors that were going to conquer the Europe and the continents of Africa or whatever it was, they said, you know, what's on at the end of this continent? What's at the top of that mountain? How do I cross a river? How can I build a machine that flies? How can I make this train go faster? All empowering questions, and they found the solutions. So Winnie, the tips I have taken is to write a journal on a daily achievements, even like taking a daily work. Yeah, agree, Winnie. I like that. I think having a journal, if you just had one related to questions, just have a pad and just write questions. And then, as I said, just leave, maybe if it's a subject that you're really passionate about, maybe leave a couple of blank pages, put at the top, whatever the subject is, and start asking yourself. Now, I will please recommend you to do this. Now, I might ask you the question, what are you here for? Ultimately, what are you here for? What is your purpose? Now, you see, that might be empowering to you. But for some of you, it might be more empowering for you to ask yourself that question. And it is for me. So, and there's no right or wrong. What am I here for? What is my purpose? How am I going to make a difference? That is more empowering to me. So if I started asking myself the questions related to purpose, and I have like a page and I just write, I don't know, question after question after question, and read them and read them and read them. It's like a mantra. They all of a sudden start coming into your head and you'll start finding solutions. And then before you realize, you'll start seeing those questions and you'll start seeing the answers popping up. Okay. Anyone, any last questions? You know what, every webinar that I've done, which has been great, is to see that the people that have started literally stay to the end. So that means that you guys are still awake, and it means that, you know, we've been sharing some great ideas. Any other questions? Any other tips that you want to share with your fellow colleagues? Well, I would love to hear about, oh, sorry. Okay. We've got another question here before we go. Your one role model. Wow. I don't know if I've got one role model, to be honest. Because of NLP, I consider myself a modeler. I've really learned different things from different people, and I've extracted what I found interesting. Obviously, you know, kind of, I've seen the work of Richard Bandler, I've seen the work of Paul McKenna firsthand for many years. So I wouldn't say they're my role models, but I've definitely learned from them a lot. I've modeled what they've done and how they help people. I think a role model would be my mum. And I know some people go, oh, that's really cheesy, but it's true. My mum was a widow at the age of 35. I was 15. My brother was 7. And she had to work her socks off to bring us up, to provide us private education. And she's had this phenomenal spirit for life. And she's, you know, she's helped me to become who I am. And she's built character in me and also in my brother. And then I have kids and my brother has kids. So to see kind of like, you know, 5 grandchildren that have come pretty much from the work of my mum, and obviously my dad planted the seed, you know, but, you know, unfortunately he wasn't around for a long time. You know, it's just beautiful to see what a role model she has been. So Pradeep is saying that as a coach myself, I practice myself and encourage and empower my clients to write about their life experiences. And your key questions are very helpful to find our passion and purpose in life. Thank you for sharing the process, Pradeep. Pradeep, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Winnie, thank you for your time, building the best you community. Catch you up next week. Thanks a million for the webinar. That's Tamushri. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love you all. God bless. Take care. Lots of love.